Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out XCN's price chart. And first things first, I would like to apologize for sounding absolutely terrible because unfortunately I caught a really bad cold. So for the next 7 to 10 days, unfortunately you have to bear with me. Other than that, let's see what is going on in XCN's chart and unfortunately what we pretty much expected play out. You see, if you remember, the last time that we talked about ONYX coin, we were actually around here, and the idea was that even if we get a move up, odds are that move is going to be in form of an ABC, which is going to be into a larger degree wave Y, completing the subwaves for like a WXY in form of maybe like a double zigzag. And the main reason for why I said even if we get a phase up, it's not necessarily going to be an optimistic sign was because of the fact that off of this initial low, back then we had an ABC up, which kind of got confirmed the moment that we got this move down, and in it we took the low of our B-leg. So what happened? As you can see, not only we didn't get our move up starting from here, we actually continued our move down, and that was pretty much what we talked about in the previous videos. We said we are probably not going to hit our final low anytime soon, and odds are the current phase down in ONYX coin is going to continue, but overall it probably is going to be part of the bullish process. And if I just go on daily charts, okay, you see, I think in XCN we are having 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, a strong impulse up into wave 3, and probably to about the lowest slope down here around, let's say, 0.7 of a cent, we are having correction structure into wave 4, and this is actually a bullish setup for the next big huge wave 5 that we are going to get, meaning I'm really hoping that this is going to be 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, and what's next, good move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5, which in it the bare minimum target is going to be taking in the highs around, let's say, 5 cents area. But if this 1-2 is happening, I think we are going to go like much higher than that, because it's very important to understand that in terms of Elliott waves, wave 3 is known to be quite a strong and sharp move on the upside. So as you can see, it's all just simply part of the bullish process. Having said that, in the short term, well, unfortunately, once more, we're not seeing optimistic sign. And if you remember, we talked about the bullish divergences that we were able to find in here, and we said seems like that XCN does have a habit of breaking the divergence lines, which will translate to some more decent sharp moves on the downside. And once more, ONYX coin proved us right. Now, question: what is going on starting from the lowest low? And I actually believe probably in the next, let's say, 24 hours, this move is going to continue a bit more. And if I just go on 15-minute time frame, there we go. See, in my view, we are most likely having from here a wave 1 correction for wave 2, and this is like 1 2 3 4 5 wave up into wave 3, followed by a corrective movement into wave 4, and yet another move on the upside into wave 5. Also in this area, we are most likely having a 1 2 3, probably an ABC into 4, another sharp move up into wave 5. So I'm counting on having, starting from the lowest low in XCN, an ABC zigzag, which the subwaves for it are going to be like this: 5 up into a correction for wave B, we can have an ABC, WXY, WXYZ, and in some cases even an ABCDE, a triangle structure, and yet another impulse up into wave 5. Now, on the other hand, if you want to say that, for example, we're going to have our final low around, let's say, this area, maybe this is like a very important support, then okay, you need to be able to find off of the lowest low in that region a 1 2 3 4 5 as opposed to an A B C zigzag. And this is a very important point. Pay attention. Into your wave 2, you can have many different forms of correction structures, however definitely not an ABCDE, a triangle. And why is that important? Because if I just go on the live chart, excuse me, okay, so what do we have in here? In my view, we are probably having, like we said earlier, 5 wave up, this is another 5 wave, and between them, I think we can all agree this is actually a beautiful looking ABCDE. So this means what? we are probably going to continue this move a little bit, but odds are on a higher degree. These are overall the subwaves for an ABC zigzag, meaning after this short-term phase is over, we are going to continue our move down, and then we're going to take the lowest low down here for the first target, about, let's say, 1 cent. But I'm thinking we are probably going to go quite a bit lower than that. Why is that? Two reasons. You see, in terms of classic trends, I think we are still in a beautiful looking downtrend, and here is the channel for it. And as you can see, right now we are not yet around the lower band of the channel, so makes sense to argue, since we came all the way down here, we are going to continue our move down and reach to about the lower band of this thing. Number two, in ONYX coin, when we got this move on the upside, it actually happened way too fast, and as a result of it, we did create a very important gap right in here between, let's say, 0.85 to about 0.96 of a cent. And I believe gaps 95+% of the time are going to get filled. So from my POV, makes perfect sense to argue, again, since we came all the way down here, we might as well have, like, let's say 1 or 2 more waves down in order to fill this gap. And then what really matters is what is going to happen in this area, because I really want to see in XCN, starting from the lows down here, a very strong bounce back, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 without a lot of overlapping of the waves, in order for me to flip bullish and call this point, for example, our final low. If we get this, this will be pretty much, in my view, your ultimate bullish sign, suggesting, you know what, this corrective phase has come to an end, and indeed on a higher degree we do have this beautiful 1-2 bullish setup, and exciting times in ONYX coin are indeed going to be ahead of us. But before we get into all that good stuff, seems like our move down is going to continue. And also, here is my final point. I actually forgot to tell you this at the beginning. You see, right around the current areas, I really do not see a whole lot of strong support. So from my POV, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to get a very strong bounce and hit our final low around the current area. Now, I think we're going to go a bit lower and reach to this gap, which at the same time is also a very important support area. And then let's get a very strong bounce back. And at that point, we are going to be back on the bull trend. Also, let's go on 30-minute time frame. There we go. You see, in my view, in ONYX coin, we are having in this area an ABC on the upside. This is an ABC. So on a higher degree, I'm actually willing to say this is probably a wave 1, ABC into wave 2, another move down into wave 3, correction for 4, another move on the downside into wave 5 to about this point. But here's a problem. You see, on a higher degree even, that's actually going to be most likely into this wave 3, correction for 4. And what's next? Well, another move down into wave 5. So as you can see, most signs in ONYX coin suggest that we are probably going to have, let's say, another 15 to, if maybe we are not that lucky, even 20% move on the downside. But as long as we are staying above this level, and at the same time we are not taking the lows down here about 0.75 of a cent, I don't really believe that we are having anything to be worried about. On the other hand, if we do go down and we take the lows in here, not a lot of good things, in my opinion, are going to come out of that. And at best, assuming that we are going to even hit our final low around here, then okay, the recovery phase, I promise you, is going to take some time. And for example, maybe having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 followed by a slow and choppy move down, a correction as structure, may at that point take, let's say, 2 or 3 months. It is going to be some seriously boring price action in XCN. But again, for now, since we haven't taken the lows yet, it's way too soon to talk about those kinds of scenarios. Let's just count on another small move down. But before that, you know what, maybe we are going to get in the next 24 hours another phase up, and it's not going to be, I promise you, necessarily an optimistic sign. Be careful. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in XCN. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.